Okay, I wanted to do a quick little video because I have had several people ask me how in the world I set up my palette, and I don't use regular palette paper like that you buy in the books at the store. I use a Sta-Wet Pallet. This is a Masterson. I've used this one for years and years, but it's really too big for my workspace, and so I reduced it down. They have these at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. They're like $25 for the box, and the box will usually come with the lid, the box, and it may or may not come with the sponge. Usually you have to buy the sponge separate, but usually it's just a plain old empty box for 25 bucks. So and then you can buy these styrofoam, or these foam, it's not styrofoam, but these foam little sheets to replace them as you need to. I usually just I put this one away. I don't use this one anymore because it's just too big for my workspace, but just to do the demonstration I'll show you. But this is what I actually use now. When it's Walmart in the cake and bacon section where they have the cooking ware and all that stuff, and this is just a cookie sheet that I got for $6.99. It's stainless steel, perfect. And living in the South, we have to worry about mold a lot. It grows really fast in the South, so this was constantly saying molded. So I just don't use this one at all anymore. But then I just got me an extra foam, styrofoam thing, and cut it down to size. And then I got the smallest Sta-Wet paper that I could find and cut it down to fit. So, and these things, you can use them over and over and over and over. But I'll do a quick little demonstration for you on how I set mine up, and I use the big one to do that. What you want to look for is this stuff here. Is called Sta-Wet, and it's palette paper, and comes out of the package feeling just like a piece of paper. Sounds like paper, looks like paper. You get your water ready to your, it's not like with rinsing your brushes out where you have to use cold water. Just get it warm, then you just want to get it wet and wrinkle it, and it's full of starch, I think is what is in here, and you got to rinse all that starch out. So you just keep going through there, roll it, crunch it. And just get all that starch out, and it's going to start feeling like fabric as you're getting all that starch out. And like this one here, I've used that one probably, gosh, I don't know how many times. You just, when it dries out, you just get it wet again. That paint's going to dry on there when it dries out, so you can just go right over it again. Just keep on reusing it. I think this packet here of this paper was $7.47, and that packet will last me years. I won't have to buy it for a long time. But anyway, get all the starch out, and you just look at it, because it'll kind of look marbled until you get the starch out. And this looks pretty good. It's going to be really soft. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get this wet, fill it up with water until that sponge is completely I was saying styrofoam. It's not styrofoam, it's a sponge. Anyway, you want to get that real soaked through to where it's the right size. I also, my old former mother-in-law gave me this palette, and she actually got, I think this is something that you would use for a latch hook or something. This keeps it wet, and if you're in the north, like I said, where you don't have to worry about the humidity so much, this is great if you're up there where in the dry areas. But this keeps the water and it keeps it moist, and if you keep it closed, it'll stay wet for a long time. And you can spray these sponges with some watered down bleach or Lysol or something like that. That keeps your mold from growing in there. Anyway, what you want to do is you want to, when you get it wet, it's going to collect water in the corner, and just kind of give it a little bit of a run down. You want to get all that extra water out. Okay. And just let that drip out until there's not much water left in there. You don't want your sponge floating in water in here. Then you're just going to take your palette and you're going to get as much of, just wring the water out of it. And I start like this. I put it here and just drag it across. I'm going to try to get it closer, you can see. And then what you want to do is you just want to flatten it out, get all the air bubbles out. And this palette paper I have is not made for this sponge or this size. It's for a smaller palette. But just for demonstration purposes, it'll work. So anyway, and there's your finished palette, and you use it just like you do any other that waxy palette or wax paper or whatever. And it's just going to help when you're going to do your shading and highlighting. It's going to help that paint glide real smooth across your brush and get a good blending. And then, you know, whenever it looks on your palette paper like you want it to look on the wood, you go ahead and start doing your detail work. So that is how I set up my paint palette. Real quick, when you have it set up, if the paper palette is too shiny, if it's shiny, if it has any kind of a sheen, you have too much water and you need to drain some more water out. And then it's also helpful to take a paper towel and just kind of go across it and dab any extra water out that might be floating up on the top of the surface. So anyway, that's how I set up my Sta-Wet palette. Thanks.